Here's what I always tell people when it comes to marketing, especially when you hire an agency like the one you did. Communication and transparency are key. Most sales guys can handle 8 to 10 new leads per day. You have to also remember, they're gonna start building up a pipeline also. If you're a sales guy, right, I expect for you to make 60 to 80 calls per day. I expect you to have anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of talk time. If you don't have metrics for your salespeople, then they're not gonna know how to govern themselves, and they're not gonna know what their daily to-do list looks like. Again, the problem with a lot of us in the blue collar space is we fear the unknown. Us as business owners not investing into marketing is one of the most counterproductive things that we'll ever do. You will not get to $10 million a year if you don't have active marketing happening every single month. It's just not gonna happen. Here's what I'll tell you, that the only thing that matters when it comes to marketing is results, right? Am I getting the return on my investment? By the way, that's the number one metric that I want you and every single person in here to track. We're gonna track cost per lead. We're gonna track, cost per acquisition or customer acquisition cost. We're gonna track lead to conversion ratio. We're gonna track all these different metrics, but none of those even matter, right? If your ROI, which is your return on investment, is not what it needs to be. And this is what I would want at a conservative level for every single person in the community, right? I want you to expect a 4 to 6x ROI, a 4 to 6 return on investment. So if I invest $10,000 into a marketing campaign, I want my gross return to be $40,000 to $60,000 that month. Does that make sense? So I want you to just keep an eye on it, right? And I want them, here's the other thing, bro. Once you start meeting with them, because I want you to start meeting with them, because I think you are going to start meeting with them, right? Yes. Okay. Here's what I always tell people when it comes to marketing, right? Especially when you hire an agency like the one you did. Communication is key. Transparency is key. You know what I mean? Communication and transparency are key, right? Because why? We're going to be able to communicate back and forth, and we're going to tell each other what's working, what's not working. And then on the transparency side, we're going to be constantly communicating on what numbers look good and what numbers we need to improve immediately and what adjustments need to be made. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
So keep all that in mind, bro. And if these guys are not going to do that with you, especially for the money you paid, you better start raising some hell. Here's what I always expect from marketing agencies, because unfortunately 9 out of 10 of them are just, they're overwhelmed. I'm not gonna say that they're intentionally bad, bad actors, but they're overwhelmed. They bite on more than they can chew, Mm-hmm. So as long as they do what they say they're gonna do, right? That's a good thing. And you gotta hold them accountable. Hey, and you go, by the way, try to hold them accountable to timelines too, Hey, you said that you're going to do this, this, and this by this day, right? Where's that at? Hold them accountable to timelines, right? Hold them accountable to scope of work. Hold them accountable to fulfillment, right? These are things that you should be holding them accountable.
You got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I was just wanting to follow up on that what you just said as far as like the 4 to 6x return. Is that for revenue or gross profit or what?
Gross sales.
I'm starting to like track that.
Yep. Gross sales, gross revenue. Okay. Yeah. Gross sales, gross revenue.
Got it.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Cool, man. Yeah. We're about getting. We're getting at least that, and then we're just starting to do LSA. So my goal for this year is to double up the leads for each sales guy.
There you go. So this is the other thing that I want you to keep an eye on, brother, is what is the volume of new coming leads that your sales guys have the capacity to handle, right? In many cases, guys, all right, when it comes to new leads, Most sales guys can handle 8 to 10 new leads per day. 8 to 10 new leads per day. You have to also remember, they're going to start building up a pipeline also. So they're going to, and then not only that, but they're going to have consistently have to follow up on leads that they've already spoken to that require a follow-up, right? And here's the other thing, bro.
100%.
Here's the other thing for everybody that's watching when it comes to leads, right? And now it's kind of transitioning into sales, right? But watch this, new leads, 8 to 10 a day. But here, you guys gotta put metrics together for what you expect, right? You gotta put metrics. So here's what I'm saying. Okay, if you're a sales guy, right, I expect for you to make 60 to 80 calls per day, right? Calls per day. I expect you to have anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of talk time. See what I'm saying? These are metrics that you gotta set for your sales guys. If you don't have metrics for your salespeople, then they're not going to know how to govern themselves, and they're not going to know what their daily to-do list looks like, right? And then you got to review this with them on a weekly basis. You got to review this with them on a weekly basis. Hey, how many dials are you making? Because here's the thing, man. Productivity, right, equals results. There's no results without productivity. If these folks are not making their dials and they're not talking to customers, then you don't expect results, right? But you got to hold them accountable. You got to hold them accountable. Hey, did you make your dials today? Did you have your talk time today? Did you make your offers today? Right? How much revenue did you bring in today? What's your month-to-date revenue look like? Are you going to hit your goal this month? You see, these are all things that we have to constantly hold our salespeople accountable to.
Yeah, we just set up a bonus structure for our guys too, but a lot of our stuff is inbound. So that's what I'm working on right now is I don't know if anybody has any suggestions, but of like maybe a call list, or how can I create more of an outbound list for my guys to call or reach out to.
So inbound,
right now,
yeah.
It's all inbound.
So inbound's going to be obviously customers that are reaching out to you. But bro, remember, I don't know if you remember at the event, right? You can literally scrape data. Remember? Scrape
That's right.
data. So you go to Prospect X, enter a zip code or enter a city, right? Retrieve that zip code, retrieve that city. And so, right, zip code, zip or city or state. You can do the whole damn state if you want. Okay, filter what you want to do. You know what? I only want to target homes that are 1,500 square feet or more. I only want to target homes that are 1990, that were built in 1990 or newer, right? So again, filter with what you're looking for. Skip trace. Right there, Prospect X, you can skip trace. Now, right, and when you enter in all that data, after you filter, you can skip trace it. Now you get phone numbers and emails, right? And then now your guys can cold call, outbound. See what I mean? Now your guys can cold call. Now they can reach out house by house, house by house, house by house. But remember, if these people are going to reach out, I'm hoping that they have a script, like a cold call script. They got to have a cold call script. There's a difference, by the way, right, guys? There's a script. There are scripts, and then there are processes. So, example, right? Yeah, cold call. All right, I'm gonna have a cold call script. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, how's it going? Da, 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 da. Hey, are you interested? How's your roof? Da, da, whatever. Okay. Then again, whoever's in sales, hey, what's up, brother? Whoever's in sales, right? They got to have a sales process. That's a difference. There's a difference between a script and a sales process. All right, let's go back to talking about marketing, right? So, by the way, especially in the blue collar space, man, people are just afraid. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid to market. right? Remember, we look at marketing as an expense instead of an investment. I expect an investment. You know what I mean? There's one of our companies right now, we're getting a 7x ROI on a marketing campaign that we're running through Facebook. So again, I expect an ROI on what I'm investing. But here's what I'll tell you too about marketing. Okay? This is what it takes to have a successful marketing campaign. Whether it's, Meta, and by the way, not all of it's going to work, guys. Not all of it's going to work. Right? You're gonna do Google AdWords. You're gonna do Meta. You're gonna do some people are gonna do Yelp, right? And then you're gonna have to determine which one is effective for your business. You get what I'm saying? Like, not like for a roofing company, maybe Google AdWords is gonna work and Meta is not. You know what I mean? So again, I don't care if it's Meta or Google, right? Or cold call or Yelp, it doesn't matter, right? Here's what you need to have a successful campaign. Number one, your online brand, it has to be trustworthy, because now you're out there in the digital world, and there's customers going to look for you. They're going to go look at your lander. They're going to go look at your website. They're going to go look at your Instagram and your Facebook, and that's going to determine for them if they want to take the next step. Like, do I want to take the next step? Do I trust this brand? Do I trust this company enough for me to take the next step, right? So that's that. Okay. Watch this. Agency. All right, it takes three to tango, okay? Your online brand has to make sense. When they go to your website, it has to be clean, right? Who you are, what you do, and how they can get a hold of you. Very simple. Who you are, what you do, and how they can get a hold of you. There's been a lot of people that have come to us for consulting, and we take a look at their websites, and their websites are a little bit they're a little bit disastrous. You know what I mean? And then Sal goes in there and then he makes it he enhances it, makes it better. But that's why I said online brand, right? That has to be good. The agency you're working with, I mean, that's a big thing. Like I said, there has to be communication and there has to be transparency. Okay? The agency you're working with. And then you also got to track. You can't just take people's word for it. You got to track. Okay, where's my cost per lead? Where's my cost, my lead to conversion on this? Where's my lead qualification ratio? What if they're sending me a bunch of leads, but none of these leads qualify for what I'm looking for in a client, right? So lead qualification percentage is a big thing too, right? But again, you got to set out those metrics, and then you got to be working with the right agency. Here's the other thing that it's going to take for you to be successful, right? Your sales rep. Because look, what if you have this, check, and then you have this, check, your online brand is good, and then the agency you're working with is they're solid, they're producing, but then you got a sales rep who doesn't care. You got a sales rep who's lazy. You got a sales rep who's maybe doesn't have the skill set to convert leads into clients. So all of these are important, not just one. You can't have one without the other, because guess what? The moment, right? Let's just say this. The moment that that's not aligned, right? Or that's not meeting the criteria, boom, it all falls apart. Okay, the agency produced an interested person for you. They went to your website and they're like, I like these people. I'm gonna give them a call, right? And then they call. And then your sales rep is they're not good. They don't know what they're doing. They're not trained. They're not developed. So all of these things, like I said, have a lot of importance for you to have a successful marketing campaign. See, again, the problem with a lot of us in the blue collar space is we fear the unknown. The reason why we don't put money into marketing is because we fear it, because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what to expect. We don't know how to track. Does that make sense? Type in a 1 if that makes a lot of sense for a lot of you guys. And that's why it's like, man, I don't know if I should invest money into marketing because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to track. Therefore, this is unknown territory for me. So I don't feel comfortable. Investing. And what's crazy is that it's like us as business owners not investing into marketing is one of the most counterproductive things that we'll ever do. Like, you will not get to $10 million a year if you don't have active marketing happening every single month. It's just not going to happen. So again, I just want to, I want to encourage you guys, right, to invest money into your company because you're going to get it back. You're going to get it back if you do what I just kind of broke down for you. All right. Sales. Here's the thing about sales, guys, real quick. Okay. A lot of us business owners are the ones doing the sales. A lot of us business owners are the ones doing the sales.